Hi everyone, thank you for coming along. Just a small disclaimer before I get started here. All of the data shown is modelled specifically for this, but does use existing reports and tools. So just to begin, who are ScottishPower? ScottishPower is a global leader in the energy industry. We are the first integrated company in the UK to generate 100% of its power from sustainable sources. We're part of the Iberdrola group and one of the UK Big Six. What are we going to show today? So today I wanted to show two main topics that empower our business to react or make decisions based on more accurately based data. The COVID pack, which allows the senior leadership team to see the complete picture, and the business on a page. For a small hint, it's now evolved into 2 pages, but this allows business partners to accurately understand the makeup of the businesses that they support. A little bit on our journey. In early 2019, ScottishPower HR partnered with MicroStrategy to bring our reporting and analysis to a whole new level by replacing our existing reporting solution of Oracle Discoverer with MicroStrategy. This allowed us to start on a journey to move from tabular reporting to dashboards and more effective types of visual reporting. And also, just important, allowed us to move from just one application, which was our HR support application, to an integrated platform, including things from SAP, our data warehouse, authorization systems, just to name a few. So an example of what we tried to do in the beginning, this was originally a spreadsheet of levers. It's now a clear dashboard, shows levers over time, by reason, by gender, and we can spot trends at a glance. As I mentioned, our previous solution was just Oracle Discoverer, so data merging from multiple systems would have been done manually through extracts, probably not in a clean or efficient way. We now have MicroStrategy linked to several systems, which allows for integrated and automated reporting that helps to provide insights we might not have gotten in the past, but also takes away a lot of manual labour. An example of this can be seen on the screen. On this page, we've been able to combine the data from our case management tool within our HR system to show the trends and volumes over time, but also each vertical has contributed, and you can see that below. Improving processes. Using MicroStrategy, we've been able to streamline several HR processes to make ourselves more efficient. For example, we now have a dashboard which allows our HR director to view all recruitment requests in one place, and that can then be sliced by business or type of recruitment before approving. So moving on to one of the main topics, tracking COVID. To help the senior leaders and support them, we have 2 dashboards that allow them to access key data quickly. This includes a map to show how many absences have been recorded at each location, KPI indicators that show the total number of absences, total number of recovered absences, and the total amount of work days lost, and an overall absence trend chart and broken down KPI trend chart for each COVID absence reason. In terms of business on a page, we're looking to try and help support the senior leaders again. This time we built a dossier to show key metrics needed to understand each business, and that's split into 2 sections. A high-level summary section to show key metrics, and then a more in-depth workforce demographics session. So let me take you to look at some of these dossiers now. If we look at our COVID response first, so here we have our COVID HR numbers dashboard. This goes to our CEO as well as our senior leadership teams and allows them to look at the COVID picture as a whole, sliced by business, and really get in about what's important. So we can see here the total number of absences that had been, the amount of people that have returned to work, which again is important. We need to know if our staff are recovering, as well as the total weekdays lost. This, as we mentioned, can be sliced by business, so we can look at the corporate picture, where we can see Glasgow and Aberdeen are affected. We can look at networks, where we see Glasgow is also affected, but also so is Liverpool and London. We can also search specific regions, so perhaps we just want to look at Scottish offices. We can allow the map to zoom in here and see very quickly, here are our offices, here's the number of absences. We also have a page around currently elected employees. So within here, it's important to see the breakdown of who is affected, but also which type of case is it. So you can see we have our colour coding, the orange colour here being a suspected case, the green being a confirmed COVID case, and the blue, the self-isolating with no symptoms. So very quickly, we can see the majority of cases are suspected, followed by our confirmed cases, and then the self-isolating. But also, perhaps a nice touch here, we can extend that analysis by hovering, and we can get a nice hypercard. So we can see employee 10051, she works in the networks business, she was low risk for COVID, is under 60 and isn't field-based, so that's probably where the low risk came from, and wasn't currently quarantining. If we move over to a confirmed case, we can see this employee also worked in networks, but was classified as high risk, didn't show any symptoms, wasn't field-based, but was 60 or over. Finally, then, if we go to look at our trends, we can see here we have this broken down by COVID-19 confirmed cases, self-isolating, no symptoms, and suspected cases. We thought it was a nice touch here to use the KPI widget because we can see the percentage difference from the previous day, as well as showing the trend over time. And then at the bottom, we have the complete trend from March until year end. Again, it allows us to easily spot peaks, troughs, and then make decisions on what we may have to do based on that. I'll move over to business on a page. So we have two components to this, as I mentioned earlier. The first being the high-level summary, which again allows us to look at our office locations, which are clustered here, and then we can see how many employees we have per location. We can see our more densely populated areas in the orange and more sparsely in the blue. We also have a way here of checking the headcount, so we can see how is our number looking? How does it compare to our contractor staff? Do we maybe need less contractors, more direct employees, for example? We can see our new hires versus our leavers year to date. So we can see very quickly, are a lot of people leaving a business? If so, we can look into why and try and stem that. As well as our span of control, which for me is a very interesting metric. The span of control is the average amount of employees per line manager. It's very useful if we're looking at a project, for example, a restructure, because you can see very easily, is a business bloated or is there a lot of one-to-one relationships? I think these numbers look okay on the whole. We can see we have an average of 7 employees to a line manager in networks, which would make sense as they have a lot of craft teams. Moving on to our workforce information, we tried to look at key metrics here, and I'll try and talk through why each is a key metric. So ScottishPower is a diverse employer. We sign up to gender pay gap, things like that. So we're trying to make sure our headcount is as close to even as possible between our male and female. Looking at staff distribution by age banding, this can be useful when working on strategic workforce planning. We want to see, is our workforce aging? Do we have to look at replacing? And if so, when? We have our length of service here, which shows staff by tenure bandings. So 0 to 9, 10 to 19, 20 to 29, 30 to 39. This also allows us to look at when people may leave based on their length of service. You can see we don't have many after 30 to 39. Then at the bottom, we tried to do something a bit different. So we're looking at business interactions with HR via our case management system. So we can see our top 5 categories of interaction for the business as a whole. We can see we have authorizations, dependency, general, HR online, and systems. But then maybe we want to look for a specific business. We again have the ability to do that, to filter. If we look at corporate, the picture stays pretty much the same. If we go to look at networks, we can see there's a slight change. Now, looking on the bottom right here, we have our cases opened for the last 3 years, and we can drill into each. So if we click on 2020, we see coronavirus makes an appearance, which I'm sure you'll all be aware about and be dealing with day to day. And that is the idea for business on a page.